What's up? Pitmaster in the dock. We are here, and we're gonna talk about the UFC. We're gonna talk about the UFC. I did see my mom this weekend. I went to Hawaii. That was pretty cool. Um, but UFC,
And Veterans Day.
Veterans
Today's
Day.
Veterans Day.
Thank you to all you
Thank
vets out
you,
there.
John.
Oh, you're
you
welcome.
served in our
I
military.
did serve in the military. I actually bled for my country. I fought for my country. I did. It was in a boxing ring, but I was in the freaking army, so yeah, I did.
So
bleed.
you did basic training, though? You went
I
in?
did basic training. I went into an infantry.
Where'd you do your basic training at?
Fort Benning, Georgia, and then I joined 11 Bravo, which is infantry, and I wanted to go to Iran, where I thought I was going to go. That's why I joined, because they had the hostages.
What year is this?
I
Oh, this is
forget.
Iranian
It's
hostage
like
crisis
79-ish.
time? Okay.
So they had the hostages. I was like, I gotta go. I'm gonna join. So I joined the army. My dad was 11 Bravo. My dad was in World War II, actually, and he actually went to West Point as well. But anyway, so he was 11 Bravo, and he wanted me to be 11 Bravo infantry. And I was like, oh, shit, can I be like fucking computer or something? But no. So I joined 11 Bravo infantry. Got stationed. They gave the hostages back. I went to my first sergeant and I said, can I get out? I mean, there's no war going on. They gave back the hostages.
Was this after you finished basic?
Oh yeah, I was done basic in my advanced training, and I was already at my duty station, and I was like, can I like get out and
Your barista's here.
oh, thank you, my barista. Thank you, the best barista in the world. Anyway, so they gave back the hostages, so I was like, oh man, I can't be in the army. So I went to my first sergeant. This is how like things are meant to be. I went to my first sergeant. He had seen me fight as an amateur. And I went in there, I was like, hey, first sergeant, I need to get out, man. I mean, there's no war and I don't want to stay in the army. I don't want to do guard duty and KP and shit. And they gave back the hostages. So can we just call it a day? And after he was done laughing for like 10 minutes, he's like, you're in for 3 years or whatever. He said something like that. But then he goes, but I got an idea, man. I've seen you fight, and you fought. He happened to be from my hometown. So he saw me fight in the Golden Gloves. And he's like, why don't you box for the Army? And I was like, what do you mean box for the Army? Because we have a team in the Army, and you could box for the Army. So I was like, okay, sign me up. So he actually facilitated me trying out for the team and how to do it. I had to go on leave. Like I had to go TDY, which means you're going somewhere else, but you're still, in the Army. So I went to the Army base in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and I fought in a tournament, which enabled me to make the team. So I made the All-Army boxing team. And pretty much that's all I did while I was in the Army. So it was tough because the Army team is tough. I mean, they don't take any shit. I mean, if you're late for training, you're late for duty, and they will write your ass up. You cannot be late for training. It's not like some gyms, guys like half an hour late. If you're a half an hour late, your ass is going to the break. I might be exaggerating just a little bit, but
So what do you do with the rest of your time? If you're training, you're not training all day, every day. What else do they have you doing?
well, to be honest, I like being in the infantry, and I wanted to promote. So I kind of did. I did a little of both. So I still went on certain deployments and certain things I did, so I could still promote. But most of the stuff I didn't go. Like we went to Philippines, I didn't have to go. They went to Korea, I didn't have to go. The big stuff I didn't have to go. I didn't have to do guard duty. I didn't have to do KP. But so I kind of was half and half. But to be honest, like when you're on the team, that's all you do, and you train for a few hours a day, and then you gotta rest because it's hard training. I mean, it's like no other training I've ever done is when I was on the Army team, and the Army team shaped a lot of the ways that I trained my team and my school. I've kept a lot of that. Great experience, great bunch of guys. I would never trade a thing. The Army was fantastic to me. The Army boxing team was fantastic to me. 25th Infantry Division, fantastic to me. First of the 27th Wolfhounds, terrific. I'll never forget any of it.
So who do you compete against when you're in the Army, on the Army boxing team?
When you're in the Army team, you compete against other branches like All Army. I mean, you do like All Army will fight inter service, and you become the inter service champion. You'll fight in the local Golden Gloves wherever you're stationed. You'll fight in other tournaments, like if there's an AAU tournament or any kind of amateur tournament which is sanctioned, the Army will let you fight. So you fight a lot. I fought more, probably not that much more, but I fought a lot when I was in the Army. A lot
How
of
about between
smokers.
branches of military?
They fight. Yeah, inter service is pretty big. The Marines used to have a really good team. There was like, God, what's his name? I.W. John. No, his name was I forget his name, but there was some really good. Jeff McCracken, a name that comes to mind. He was a middleweight, and he fought for the Marines. Jeff McCracken. He was really good. But to be honest, the Army pretty much dominated military when it came to sports. I don't know that much about other sports, but boxing and wrestling, I think the Army always dominated. So I don't think I ever fought an Air Force guy. I think I fought one guy in the Navy. I fought a few guys in the Marines. Never really that good then.
Was this used as a way to recruit? I mean, was there justification for having an Army boxing team? Recruitment, or did they entertain the troops? Or what
I think it was Chuck. It was made for giving the Army troops, like give them something to cheer for and give them some like some kind of entertainment. I think more than entertainment, it gave them like something to root for. So they got a team and they could go or watch their guy fight and shit like that. I mean, like when Muhammad Ali got drafted and he didn't want to go. I mean, basically he didn't want to go. I mean, people said, he's I don't know. They said negative things about him, but he wouldn't have gone in the Army and fought just like Joe Louis. He would have gone to entertain the troops, and he would have traveled all around. If he went in the Army, they would have still let him fight, I'm sure, to defend his title, but he would have traveled all over the world entertaining the troops. So, but he didn't believe in the war, so he as just principles, he wouldn't do it, and he ended up paying for that, which whether you agree with it or not, that's what happened.
All right, so Veterans Day. So thanks to all the veterans.
Thank you,
and
veterans.
Active military out there. So on Veterans Day, we watched some fights.
We did watch some fights.
Before Veterans Day on Saturday.
Yeah. First fight on that. Well, it was a good card. It wasn't a great card, but it was definitely good. The first fight of the night that I want to talk about was Trezano and Pena. And that was kind of a hyped up fight because Pena's getting a lot of hype. Tall, thin. Let me tell you how tall and thin he is. He's thinking of going to 145. He's 6'3". Like I'm under 6 feet, so I'm like 5'11" and a half, and I'm almost 200 pounds, and I'm not like really bulky. So if you can imagine 145 at 6'3", it's pretty crazy. But he was good. He was good. I think he's out of AKA. I think he was undefeated going into that fight. And Trezano, I think, just lost his last one, but he's really good, man. I mean, I was impressed with both of them, but I was especially impressed with Trezano. Trezano, he showed everything and power in everything. He had unbelievable power in his punching, his striking, beautiful kicks, knees. I mean, and then he had the basics. I mean, he had it down. His takedown defense was like tight. I mean, this guy had it down. And I think he was one thing. I mean, when he was against the cage, he waited for Pena. I wanted him to get off the cage, which is one thing. I think he got lackadaisical and stayed against the cage, and Pena got him, and then I think he fought his way out of a takedown. He might have gotten takedown, but I mean, even against the cage where I wish he wasn't, and he spent a little too much time, he was pretty damn good at his takedown defense. In the middle of the cage or on the mat, he was really good. He was good from off his back. I mean, he is a well-rounded fighter, and I don't know if he's going to be a champion or not, but I see him climbing the ladder without a doubt. Pena's good. Nothing away from Pena, but Trezano impressed the shit out of me. And I like his camp. He trains in this camp called Tiger Schumann out of I think they're out of New Jersey or New York. They're back east. But Tiger Schulman is he has a branch of he has a lot of branches of karate schools. Like he's all over. He had a bunch of karate schools, made a lot of money in his karate schools. But then he just wanted to get into MMA. So he started a little MMA team on the side, and now he has some really, really high-level fighters, including Trezano. So I'm really impressed with that guy, Tiger Schulman. But anyway, so what else we got?
Well, then we had the fight, the local girl fought, Macy Barber. She's from Denver, fights out of Denver, so she got to fight in front of her crowd against Hannah Cyphers.
Yeah. I think they were looking at Cyphers. I think I would be willing to bet she was the favorite. I'm not 100% sure. But she looked a lot stronger. She looked like she had, she looks more solid. She's a lot more serious going in. So I was just like, oh shit. But Macy had this crazy outgoing personality. She was walking into the cage like this was like her 15th time in the UFC. It was her first UFC fight, and she was already like engaging with the crowd, and she was happy, and she looked really ready to go, and she was smiling and just like I said, she did it. This did not look like her first UFC fight.
Well, she fought in that Contender Series. That's how she got her way in. So both of these fighters were new.
Yeah, and the Contender Series has nothing to do with the UFC. That's just the UFC watching you fight in different organizations. But she was very charismatic, and she looked like she belonged there. She won. I think she won by decision, or did they stop it?
No, she won a ground and pound.
Okay.
Elbows.
Okay, yeah. A few elbows too many, I thought. She had some beautiful striking, as well as great takedown defense. But once she got Cyphers on the ground, she looked like she looked like Mark Coleman. It's like Mark Coleman was on top of Cyphers. She wasn't going anywhere. And those elbows she was throwing, which she had beautiful elbows standing as well. In fact, I think she cut Cyphers while they were standing with an elbow. She had beautiful strikes. And she's from Mark Montoya's camp. She's one of Montoya. Yeah,
she's out of Denver, yeah.
She's one of Montoya's. Montoya's like Montoya's gonna be like ATT and AKA and Jackson real soon. He's going to be right there if he isn't already. But he's gotten some. I think he had like 3 people fight and win on this card, and he had 2 last card that won. But anyway, she is someone to watch, and really, really a good fight.
Yeah, well, how good is that too to come out to your first fight in the UFC and you get to fight on the 25th anniversary card in your hometown?
Yeah,
it's a pretty special night for her. So.
Yeah. She was pretty psyched, and the nerves did not seem to affect her in a negative way, only in a positive way. Great fight. Dariush against Thiago. This fight showed me something. I'll tell you what it showed me. Dariush was really good in that fight. He looked powerful. I mean, just powerful on the ground, on the takedowns, and in the striking. He looked really good. But I think he fought. Did he fight Ramsey? I think he fought one of my guys. But anyway, one thing it showed me was that this fight was action-packed, nonstop action. but most of the action was on the ground. But it was like scrambles. It was like submission attempts, submission escapes. I mean, it was nonstop action, and it showed you that like people that love the UFC and love MMA appreciate that, but the majority of people watching don't. Like it didn't get any of the like the I don't know, the applause or the yelling or the reaction of the crowd than the main event. Just slugging. It just proved it because it was every bit as action packed, but the action was all on the ground, and it was really cool to watch because there was so many escapes, so many scrambles, and so many beautiful takedowns, and it was a great fight, but it just didn't have. It didn't have the excitement that a stand-up fight has, and that kind of showed that, and it showed it in good way and bad way. It showed it that the fans love a good grappling match. True fans love it, but it also showed that the majority of people are still going to always want to watch two guys just standing there and banging.
Well, I didn't see this fight, but I did see Dana White after the fight saying. This turned out to be a great night of fights, despite the two fights in the middle that were snoozers or something like that. So I'm guessing this was one of those fights the promoter was talking about.
Yeah, the snooze. Yeah, it could have been, but I mean, these are two jiu-jitsu black belts and two really powerful strikers, especially Dariush. So I didn't see any kind of snoozing. I wasn't snoozing during this fight, and I'm a striking guy all the way. But I was thoroughly entertained, and I appreciated the grappling of this match.
Ramsey fought Dariush in 2014.
Okay,
it was a TKO round 1 for Ramsey.
Yeah, so there's a lot for Ramsey. So then we got First thing I want to say, let's address the 500-pound gorilla in the room. Or elephant in the room. Is it an elephant or a gorilla in the room?
It's a small elephant.
This is a 500-pound...
That's a small elephant. Elephant's like thousands of pounds.
What is this, 500-pound gorilla then? Is it a 1,000-pound gorilla? What is it? It's something. Whatever it is.
You're going to address it.
Okay, I'm going to address it right now. And let me tell you something. My wife pointed this out, and it was funny as fuck. It's funny. We're watching the fight, and all of a sudden the referee stops it. These are two girls fighting. Pennington against Germaine. Okay, so Germaine's fighting Pennington. Two girls, two females, and all of a sudden the referee stops it, and he takes one to a neutral corner. So we're thinking, what's the foul? Is there a foul? What's going on? It was a low blow. A low blow. Okay. It was a low blow. We have testicles and a penis that hang out. Why would there be a low blow hanging? Hanging. Why would there be a low blow with two women? One woman got kicked in the groin. She got hit or kicked in the groin. And so I was like, why is there a low blow? And my wife goes, I said, well, she must have got kicked in the vagina. And my wife said, they always get pounded there. What's the big deal? I mean, it's why would they stop a fight? It's because they always getting hit there. Now all of a sudden they're stopping a fight because of it. That made absolutely no sense. Okay, I know they're the whole equality thing, but it's not equal down there. It's not the same. There's a lot of this going on. Could you imagine, like, as a guy, if he has his testicles, if somebody was doing that during sex, that wouldn't feel good. But with a girl, it's like that all the time. So now they can't get hit there? Wow.
I think you need to be on the next rules committee for the UFC.
You're a doctor. What do you think about that?
I didn't see this fight. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. So that was actually... Did they take a point away for a low blow?
No, but they gave her time, like... They were going to give her, like, 5 minutes to recover. It's like... What, I mean, they're getting this all the time down there. What I mean... It's.
I don't think you're qualified to comment.
Well, my wife did. My wife did. My
she
wife
say?
is the one. I said. She said, "What? Why are they stopping?" I said, "She must have got hit in the groin." And my wife said this. She goes, She said, "We're used to getting pounded down there. What's the big deal?"
Wow.
My wife said that. Anyway, so
She recovered, and then what?
She obviously recovered from getting hit in the vagina, but anyway, she recovered and she went on to win. It was a distance fight. It was like she's the taller striker, and Pennington wanted to turn it into a grappling, at least clinching match, and it was definitely pretty close. It went back and forth, but Germaine was able to a lot of straight punches, a lot of straight kicks. And she was able to keep the fight at distance, and she won a decision. So,
decision. All right, we got to revisit that rule to find out what happened.
Stupidest rule in the world. It's almost as stupid as the 12-6 elbow.
All right, so then we had
Cerrone.
the two co-main, or however this was billed, but we had Cowboy and Mike Perry. So this was a big fight going in. Cowboy does he normally have a beard? I don't think he normally has a beard.
Yeah, he's scruffy all the time. But that was a good fight, man. That was a good fight coming in. It was a good build up. Both of them are really they're really go get 'em guys. Cowboy does not talk like Perry always just goes. He sounds a little ghetto-ish at times, but he backs it up with hard punching.
He's a fan favorite, isn't he, Mike Perry?
No.
I think people like him.
I think people like Mike Perry, but they revere Donald Cerrone.
Right. I'm not saying in comparison. I think people like
They like him, but he's a little ghetto-ish at times.
He's the one he fought Paul Felder recently, and Felder had a broken arm.
Broken arm, fought the whole fight, and he won. And he's fought in some really good fights. He's definitely an action-packed fighter, hits hard. He could be a little one punch at a time, kind of. I mean, if you time his power punching, you can I don't know, you can defeat him in that way. But what one of the big builds up to this fight was Cerrone, who's been fighting with Jackson's forever. Now this guy comes in because he wants a little change the scenery, and they set him up together. So Cerrone's like, I don't feel comfortable with my trainer's training him. So he went to his trainer and said, I don't really feel comfortable with you training him for this fight. You're going to train me, and I don't like that. And his trainer basically said, fuck you, go somewhere else. I don't think he actually said that, but basically I think Cerrone went somewhere else. So it was something like that.
Well, he had been with them for a while.
Since the beginning.
Yeah, and he left.
He's from New Mexico.
So that was a big deal that he left that gym, and he's training on his own now?
He opened his own gym. I think he has some money, and he opened his own gym.
There's some bad blood there.
There's some bad blood going into this. Bad blood with Cerrone and Jackson's, and bad blood.
But not bad blood between these two guys.
Didn't seem like it. Didn't seem like it. They were like clowning each other in a fun way, kind of playing with each other before the fight, and not in a negative way. It's like even at the weigh-in and the press conference and stuff, they seemed to have a good back and forth, and it was entertaining.
Cerrone have it out with? It was Winklejohn?
Some Winklejohn or Jackson. I don't know. I think it's mainly Winklejohn. I don't know. I just can't imagine that happening. For me, like one of my old time guys, and then a new guy comes in. I can't. But I wasn't there, and I don't know what the whole dynamics were. But whatever it was, there was more animosity that Cerrone had towards this trainer than he did Mike Perry. So they went back and forth in a fun way, and I like that kind of jousting back and forth verbally and stuff. And then they went at it, and Cerrone ended up on the ground, and
I think Mike Perry got the takedown.
He got one of them, yeah.
He got one of the takedowns, and Cerrone reversed it. It was pretty impressive.
Cerrone is... I think Cerrone is dangerous anywhere, and he's great anywhere. But I honestly think he's better off his back than he is standing. I think he's more dangerous off his back than he is standing.
Well, he caught him up in... What was he in that? Was Perry in his guard? He grabbed his arm.
Yeah, got him in an arm bar and actually broke his arm. I hope Perry's okay, but Perry was trying to fight it, and Cerrone just arched and his pelvis and broke his arm. I could tell as soon as Perry came out and he was like trying to hide it, but you could tell the way he was carrying his arm after that fight. I was like, I told my wife, I said, his arm is fucked up, man. And it was. He said it was broken. He tweeted that later.
Yeah, I looked today to see what fracture he had or what he had, and there's no more information yet. So he probably broke his elbow.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty devastating injury, depending on how he broke it. Hopefully, it'll heal up fast.
A lot of it's the ligaments too. With that one.
It sounded like at least Mike Perry said his arm was broken in that exchange. So hopefully, sometimes a break is better because ligaments can take longer to heal and be more of a problem. So the fracture, depending on what he broke, hopefully it'll heal up quickly. Maybe he'll need surgery. We don't know yet. But hopefully he'll be back soon. Like I said, I think Mike Perry's a fan favorite. I like watching him fight.
Cerrone's a fan. They adore him. They revere him. And after the fight, like his grandma always goes to the fight. Like Yancy Medeiros jumped over the cage after Yancy got knocked out by Donald Cerrone and kissed his grandma because she gets really close with everyone. She's just like she's
in
bubbling.
The ring. She's in there in the ring after the fight.
And so is his kid, his newborn. They brought him his newborn. His wife brought him his newborn. And he's like carrying this little.
His newborn had giant earmuffs on, like for a shooting range or something, because it's so loud, and cowboy boots. And if I go to another UFC, I think I'm gonna dress the same way. Because the last time I went, I couldn't hear for like 3 days. It was so freaking loud in there. So I'm glad they had earmuffs on the kid.
Oh my God.
It's a little one-year. He had a belt buckle.
What's his name? Danger?
I don't know. Yeah,
it is Danger.
It said Danger on his belt buckle. He had cowboy boots and earmuffs. It was
Cute as
cool.
hell. Cute as hell.
But to see Donald Cerrone with his kid there,
he's back.
It was a nice end to the fight.
Yeah,
I think that fight ended well. And man, is he dangerous.
Yeah.
So he won. So he set some records too.
Yeah, he's the most wins in the UFC
of any weight class.
Of any weight class.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, he has one other one. I forget what it is.
Most submissions.
Or
most finishes, I think.
He's dangerous. Off his back, he's just like, yeah.
So he got performance of the night as he should have.
Oh yeah.
So that's a bonus he got too.
Yeah, and then
they don't call this guy by his actual name. They call him the Korean Zombie.
Yeah, they even write it when they have.
His name is Jung. He's got a name, but they don't call him by his name.
Nobody
He's
calls
the Korean Zombie against Yair Rodriguez.
Yeah, Yair. It was crazy. This
was a 5-round fight.
5-round fight.
1 second shy of a 5-round fight.
1 second, and Yair took the fight on 2 weeks' notice or some crazy shit, and he's fighting in altitude. So Cerrone invites him to train with him, and Cerrone's camp. Cerrone has his own gym, and he invites him to train at his camp. I think it's in New Mexico, or it could be in Denver, but it's in altitude. So he invites him to train with him, which was a lifesaver. And Yair, everybody thought Yair was gonna get winded because it was altitude, and Jung had a full camp there. But it was back and forth the whole fight. It was unbelievable back and forth. Yair, and people kept thinking, wow, Yair better keep pace himself because he's gonna get tired. He didn't pace himself, and he didn't look like he got tired. At the end, obviously he was fucking exhausted, but this guy is tough as shit. He did not look tired at all. He was throwing beautiful techniques, and so was it was the slugger. Korean Zombie was just coming forward slugging, and Yair was countering and throwing beautiful spinning techniques, beautiful elbows, spinning elbows. It was an unbelievable fight for 4 rounds and then
59 seconds.
Yeah.
Or 4 rounds. 4 minutes and 59 seconds.
Yeah, it was 4 rounds, 4 minutes and 59 seconds. It was an unbelievable fight and they were like giving each other high fives, smiling the whole fight. It was an unbelievable fight. Definitely fight of the year. It's the best fight I've seen all year. And then with 1 second left, 1 second left, with a Korean Zombie ahead on all 3 cards, he goes in for a flurry.
The Korean Zombie does.
Yeah, goes in, he's ahead.
He's ahead.
He's ahead on all 3 cards, and he goes in for a flurry with 1 second left, Yair catches him with this crazy elbow that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, there's a picture of it up there.
Nobody's ever seen that elbow before.
It's a no-look elbow counter.
It's crazy.
Crazy. It almost looked accidental, but it wasn't.
It looked like a headbutt to me. I thought as soon as the fight was over, I saw Korean crumbling to the ground. And then I saw Yair like celebrating. I was like, why is he celebrating? He just lost that fight.
The video they showed at first, you couldn't see from the angle what happened.
I thought
when they showed it from this angle, his head snapped. I mean, that was a brutal elbow. It's just amazing how fast that happens. That crazy. You almost don't even see it. You have to see the replay.
You had to see it. It was crazy. It was crazy. And watching these guys after the fight, like they went to the ER, both of them, because Yair couldn't even walk. His foot's broken. He was all beat up. He was fucking exhausted. So they both go to the ER, and after they just beat the living shit out of them for 24 minutes and 24 minutes and 59 seconds. They're like shaking hands and hanging out in the ER together. What? That's craziness. That's like, this is the best sport ever. It's the best sport ever. It's not. There's not even a sport that even like compares. I mean, watching these two guys in the dressing room. I mean, in the ER, in the emergency room that they put each other in, and then the way they're interacting, they're shaking hands and they're hanging out, and then watching Cerrone holding the baby, his baby in the cage after the fight. If you actually think there's a sport that's even close to this, you're demented. You have like dementia. There's no sport that even comes close to this.
This looks hard to even recreate.
Except for water polo. Sorry.
This looks hard to even recreate if you wanted to. Is this something you drill?
I could drill that now. That's being drilled at the pit now. I swear, I'm going to start using this. Because it was a beautiful technique. And when you think about it now, it was like nobody ever thought of that. Because I'll tell you why.
Look, there's no defense of this.
It's genius. It's because he's a fucking genius. Yair Rodriguez is a fucking genius. That was no doubt about it. Well, somebody said, lucky elbow? Lucky elbow?
Well, I want to see what he says about it.
Lucky elbow? How do you fucking lucky elbow? That's like telling Ali every time he scores with a jab, oh, that's a lucky jab. This was not a lucky elbow. This is genius. This was a genius elbow.
Yeah, it was cool to see. And that ended the fight with 1 second left.
It was terrible.
How disappointing for the Koreans.
Terrible to watch him go down. I love the fight. I love the elbow, but I hated to see him crumble and get knocked out.
Someone's got to lose. It's sports, but
great card. It really was. So, I mean, so that's about it. That's all we got to say about that. It was a great card, and it showed that this is the greatest sport. It's the greatest sport ever, and it is Veterans Day. And my old unit, let me just say, my old unit, the Wolfhounds, we had this saying called Nec Aspera Terrant. Nec Aspera Terrant. And that means no fear on earth in Latin or something. That's what we said. That's what they told us it meant anyway. It could mean anything. But we were in the Wolfhounds, and our logo was a wolfhound, and then underneath it said no fear on earth. And I'm thinking to martial arts, and for you guys that out there, martial arts gives you that feeling like no fear on earth. Like I've had so many guys tell me that they walk into a bar and sometimes they don't even want to make eye contact, or if somebody makes eye contact with them, they feel like they have to look down, or they walk into an area and they're kind of nervous. And I'm just thinking, train martial arts, you'll have no fear on earth. I've never had fear like that. I've never walked into a place and somebody looked at me. I don't care how big they are. I've never looked away from anyone because they made me intimidated. And that's what you get when you train martial arts. You get no fear on earth. So I don't know. I was just thinking about that because it's it's Veterans Day, and I was thinking about my old unit, and I was thinking of that no fear on earth and how that translates to martial arts. Has martial arts given you more confidence?
Oh, for sure.
Physically?
The one thing is interesting, though, is I think a lot of these fighters, they come into the ring, though, and they're nervous. I don't know if they're nervous, they're scared.
Very nervous.
But there's a UFC documentary, this thing they keep putting one out every week on GSP, and I watched it the other day, and it shows he grew up bullied. Like, he grew up, like, severely bullied when he was little.
Yeah.
And then he started in karate or taekwondo or whatever he started doing up in Canada. And then he says still when he goes into the ring, he's like champion, he's got the belt, he's still on his walk into the ring, he's scared.
There's no more, I'm talking about the street guys. Like if I walk into a bar, walk down the street, but walking into the ring or the cage, every single fighter is fucking nervous as shit. Every single fighter. Some don't act like it as much, but every fighter is. So, and the nerves don't have to do with another man. They have to do with you performing in front of a crowd, a fan, cameras. It's you performing one-on-one under a microscope. I mean, if you had to like perform sexually in front of a microscope, you get nervous. I mean, if there was like a microscope on you, that's the main thing. The main thing a fighter feels when he loses is he feels like a little bit of his manhood has been stripped, and he feels embarrassed in front of the fans. Even if it's a small amateur show, you feel embarrassed because say 100 people. That's a lot of people to watch you lose. So that's the biggest fear that fighters get. No matter how cocky they are, they always have that in the back of their mind, letting down their fans and being embarrassed and having their manhood taken away. So as a sport, I see that. But translating that into the street, every one of these fighters, whether it's George St. Pierre or Donald Cerrone or any of them, when they walk down the street, they'll smile at people and look at people, but they'll never fear another human being. They'll have no fear on earth. That's how I feel.
Do you have a tattoo somewhere from that?
No.
You have something from the military.
This is my old infantry unit, which is 1st to the 25th Infantry. But my battalion was called the Wolfhounds, which was the no fear on earth. So
surprised you don't have that.
So no,
there's room.
I don't now. I will now because I love that saying. Now the more I think about it, I think about it a lot today, and I think I'm gonna go with that logo more. No fear on earth. I mean, you're not trying to be an asshole, but we martial artists, we finally reach a place. Once you get here, you have no fear on earth.
The pit logo needs some Latin.
Yeah, we do. There are silly fears. Like I fear, I fear like losing my house or losing this. We have fears, but there's never a fear like
physical.
Yeah, there's never a physical fear. Bing.
John, till next time, man.
See you guys. See you guys.